Graduating from angel school at the top of her class, an angel named Gabriel White-Tenmut is sent down to the human world to live as a human and guide people towards happiness. Upon discovering the world of video games, however, Gabriel quickly becomes addicted and devolves into a worthless slob. One night, Gabriel finally finishes her homework and is ready for a rest, but then hears a cry for help from her computer. An MMO is shown to be on the computer screen with a player dying. Gabriel wonders if this is another way to learn about humans, as games are a form of human entertainment, so carries on. She ends up creating a character and chooses to be a priest who heals others. As soon as she's in the game, she heals the wounded player, who is grateful and calls her a real angel, worrying Gabriel that he might know that she is. More players ask to be healed, and Gabriel feels proud to make them happy. The next morning, Gabriel's flat is filled with rubbish bags and the room is dark and messy. Gabriel herself needs healing in the game and is getting impatient for it. Later, a demon called Vignette April Tsukanos walks into Gabriel's apartment and cuts the cord linking her internet modem to her computer with a demon trident, cutting the connection in the process. Gabriel begins to panic and Veen opens the blinds to a bright sunny day outside. She tells Gabriel that it is 8 a.m. and she is not behaving like an angel should. Gabriel protests this by telling her that there is a crisis going on in Valhalla Kingdom, a fictional kingdom in the MMO she is playing, and that she is the angel who is to protect the innocent townspeople there. Veen tells her that angels shouldn't start their mornings playing video games. Veen hints that Gabriel had skipped school during the time she was playing games and demands she go to school with her. Veen shows concern that Gabriel has changed since she first met her, to which Gabriel replies, "Humanity can just go to hell and die, for all I care," confusing Veen. Gabriel later reveals she plans to not go back to heaven but live in the human world forever playing MMO. She claims that the overachiever she was in heaven is fake and that she was repressing herself this whole time. The real her is a slob addicted to gaming. She then coins herself as a fallen angel. Elsewhere, in a stormy night over the school with red-eyed crows cawing, an eccentric demon known as Sathania McDowell Kirimizawa is seen reigning over the school, claiming to be the future queen of hell, and that all evil in the world exists solely as tribute to her. This turns out to be her imagination at a morning at school, with the crows really only being pigeons. Later, she discovers that the acts of indecency by Gabriel outweigh her own. Later, Vignette gets Gabriel to clean up her room, bringing to light that she herself doesn't act very demonic. Elsewhere, another angel named Raphael Ainsworth Shiraha takes an interest in teasing Satanation as she comes up against a stray dog. The teacher is writing up algebra problems for the class on the board, and Gabriel pays no attention, instead looking outside at boys running for athletics. After the opening, Veen asks if Gabriel wants to eat in the cafeteria, but Gabriel rejects as there are so many humans there. Veen then urges that it will be a first-time opportunity, and Gabriel decides to go. Veen then suggests inviting Sathenia, but then realizes she and Gabriel have no idea where she eats at lunch. They then watch Sathenia walk out of the classroom hiding her lunch and decide to follow, finding her eating alone on the stairs. Gabriel and Veen approach Sathenia, to her shock, leaving to drop her food. Sathenia doesn't give up hope as she still has her melon bread with her, only for it to be stolen by the dog. Sathenia then cries and gives up, so they wonder why she was alone. Sathenia then attempts to make the two believe she was not troubled being alone, but actually preferred it. Gabriel then claims they wanted to eat with her, and after denying, Sathenia says she will make an exception just once. At the cafeteria, it's revealed that Vignette doesn't know how to order, but Sathenia comes to their rescue and says that they had to buy a food ticket from a machine and shows them one. However, Sathenia doesn't appear to know what food to choose and is confused by the food names, choosing udon to all three of them by mistake. Later, we can see Raphael feeding the dog who stole Sathenia's melon bread, saying he did well stealing it from her. Two girls then walk across the bridge and assume Raphael is giving milk to a stray dog, making her a very nice person. The president of Class 1B, Machiko, stays behind at school to realize that Gabriel is the only one who hasn't handed in her career path survey. She then overhears Gabriel realizing she forgot to turn in a survey, which she assumes to be the career path one. The mood is dropped when Gabriel says, "Can all single men just jump off a cliff?" To which Veen replies that she should not say such things. Gabriel then asks her if making them disappear is her job, shocking Machiko. Veen tells her that she doesn't do it anymore, further shocking Machiko. Machiko is feeling very confused, wondering what this has to do with career paths, until she is shocked and relieved to realize Gabriel was talking about a different survey, when she realized she forgot the career path survey as well. At cooking class, the class is told to split into groups of 3 and make miso simmered mackerel and miso soup with tofu. Veen reveals she wants to start cooking them and then sarcastically refers to it as Hell's Kitchen, as her partners are Gabriel and Sathenia. The first step is to clean the fish which Sathenia was supposed to bring. She to bring one, but it's from a lake in hell. it's also still alive, further shocking Veen. Veen then asks if Gabriel remembered to bring the tofu and seaweed, but Gabriel has instead brought in carrots, potatoes, and onions. The dishes are finally done, but Veen is unhappy with the result, as it says menacing above it. They are then stuck eating it, and Gabriel says the moral is to follow the recipe. However, Sathania, being taste deaf, enjoys it. Veen then thinks to herself that next time she will ask to be put in a different group. At Sathania's apartment, Sathania is shocked to find Raphael sleeping next to her. She then demands answers, but Raphael realizes it's time for breakfast and ignores it. Raphael does explain, saying she feels frustrated and that she needs to get closer to become friends with Sathania, so she snuck in, creeping Sathania out. Sathania then demands her to go and buy breakfast for her, which is melon bread and milk in a deadline of 5 minutes. Raphael denies this, however, claiming her to be tired, and manipulates Sathania into doing the task, instead claiming she doesn't know how to. Sathania then agrees to do so, and Raphael demands a cafe and milk. However, she didn't come back with her melon bread, presumably losing it to the dog again, but sends Raphael on a mission to spy on Gabriel and report her weaknesses to her. Raphael then claims she needs time to digest, angering Sathania. Raphael then says for her to stay there is one condition. She gets the bed, so Sathania fires her. It is a calm day at Coffee Angel, a coffee shop where the master talks about how much he loves coffee and how he got into becoming a barista for 20 years. It is then revealed that Gabriel has taken a part-time job there as she walks out dressed in her uniform. Gabriel reveals she is taking the job as she was short on money, leaving the master to think it is rough balancing schoolwork with the job. However, Gabriel says microtransitions don't pay for themselves, confusing him. Gabriel then tells a customer, "Hey, come on in," and then returns with the order, asking for a cafe au lait, which is vague to the barista, so he asks if it's to be hot or iced. Gabriel says she wants to drink something hot. The master, not wanting to offend her, and tries to ask her politely what the customer wanted exactly, but Gabriel doesn't seem to know. The master loses his temper but tries to repress it to not seem rude and asks her to ask again. Gabriel lazily refuses, but the master assumes this to be anxiety kicking in and decides to ask himself, only to find out that the customer ordered one iced caramel macchiato, not even a cafe au lait. Annoyed, he wonders how she could mix that up, but then remembers she is supposedly an exchange student and feels bad. At Gabriel's apartment, it is incredibly hot and her air conditioner is broken. Gabriel complains about it, blaming God for creating a hot season, and then plans to call a repairman. However, Gabriel has lots of mosquito bites, and there is one still there, so she attempts to kill it but fails. She then finds two and tries using Angel Shield to protect her body with a holy aura, but this doesn't work. Gabriel loses her patience and uses every measure she can to kill the mosquitoes, but someone is at the door ringing repeatedly. It's Sathania, who is bored and wants to be amused by what Gabriel is doing, but Gabriel kicks the door down with Sathania underneath, threatening to smash open her skull if she messes with her. The girls make plans to take a trip to the beach for summer vacation, much to Gabriel's dismay. Despite having no experience with human beaches, the others attempt to teach Gabriel the fun of playing at the beach. Later, as the girls get together to finish their summer homework, Vignette tells the others about how she came to meet Gabriel prior to her transition into a slob. Tapras Sugar-Belchizaki, a middle school angel who strongly admired Gabriel, is shocked to see how much of a slob she has become. As Tapras believes this to be the work of a demon, Raphael, looking for some amusement, decides to set her up against Sathania, who smugly takes credit for Gabriel's downfall. After losing a game of Old Maid to Sathania, Tapras finds comfort in Vignette's kindness, only to become distant when she learns that she's a demon. Afterwards, Tapras spends the night at Gabriel's apartment, where she witnesses her slobbiness firsthand, but still gets a small glimmer of hope. Wanting to get revenge on Gabriel, Sathania buys a revolver from the Hell Shopping Network that causes whoever it shoots to wind up in a laughing fit. After this plan ends up in failure, Sathania faces Gabriel in a game of Shodi, only to once again lose due to Gabriel playing by her own rules. Later, the class president winds up as Sathania's sketching partner in art class, having to resort to ridiculous demands to try keep her motivated. On Halloween, the girls go trick-or-treating at Gabriel's apartment, where Vignette attempts to get Gabriel to wear one of her costumes. With her allowance from hell decreasing due to not acting like a demon, Vignette asks the coffee shop master for advice on how to perform bad deeds. Later, Vignette struggles to get some sleep when she catches a cold, after which Gabriel pays for a visit. Raphael finds herself with an overly tight bra when the class has to take a physical fitness exam, having to restrain her movements to keep it from breaking. However, she ends up putting her dignity on the line in order to keep Sathania from winning every event. Later, Vignette and Sathania take part in an interview exam, with the latter following some bad advice from a book Gabriel recommended to her. On another day, Gabriel sits in on Machiko's cooking club in order to get a free meal, while Sathenia discovers one of Raphael's weaknesses on the way home. Vignette tries to host a peaceful Christmas party without Sathenia realizing the holiday's connections with the birth of Jesus Christ. Later on New Year's Eve, the girls make a visit to the shrine, where Gabriel gets drunk on a mezaic. Afterwards, as the girls make home visits to heaven and hell respectively, Gabriel attempts to sneak her entertainment devices past heaven's security, with little success. Upon returning home, Gabriel finds herself having to play various games with her younger sister Haniel. Meanwhile, Vignette is shocked to find the baby monster she took in a year ago, Chappie, has grown to an enormous size, while Raphael has to deal with her perverted butler, Mariel. Later, Gabriel and Raphael are called in to report on their findings in the human world, with Gabriel using her experience with online games as a reference point, before deciding to help Sathenia sneak into heaven to relieve their boredom. Sathenia ends up rescuing the stray dog that keeps stealing her melon bread from being taken to the pound, only to realize her apartment doesn't allow pets. Having no money to move and unwilling to find another owner, Sathenia attempts to run away with the dog to find a new place to live. Luckily, Gabriel manages to convince the coffee shop master, who owns the apartment complex where Sathenia lives, to allow her to keep the dog at her place. Meanwhile, Tapras attempts to learn how to use a PC in order to help Gabriel finish her online games quicker, only to have to learn everything about computers from scratch. Later, Tapras joins the others for a takoyaki party before informing Gabriel that her older sister, Zello, will be visiting. Fearing that Zello might destroy the world if she discovers she has become a fallen angel, Gabriel attempts to appease her by acting like a model little sister. This plan fails, however, as Zello was already aware of Gabriel's transgressions. After a week of severe punishment, Gabriel returns to school as the model angel she used to be before her game addiction. Finding that they prefer the slobbish Gabriel, the others try to convert her back, only to discover she was putting on an act in front of Zello. When Zello inevitably finds out about this ploy, she contemplates moving in with Gabriel in lieu of dragging her back to heaven, only to get scared away by Sathenia's dog, allowing Gabriel to continue her slob life in peace. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing for similar content.